Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. It is fantastic to have you here. As you can see, I'm decked out in my Anvil flag tee. We've got a beautiful flag behind us. We've got a great project to be working on. We're going to be taking this billet of Damascus steel and making NYC CNC John Saunders is Johnny 5 a knife. Mr. Johnny 5 needs a knife. First thing I'm going to do today is get a video published. No! Okay, yes. No! Let me out! Let me out! Yes! Freedom! Yes! Whew. Okay, we have our billet of steel. The idea is we take ourselves a big fat end mill. This is small by a lot of people's standards. A big end mill, and we go and zoom, 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 zoom. So this is going to be doing our first ever accordion cut on the channel, I think. Way back the first time that Will and I ever worked together, we made this here Pirate's Cutlass. And we had the idea of doing an accordion cut, but I don't think we ever got around to it. I didn't think we had enough material, but here, we got material galore. So we are gonna cut out some 90-degree bits of material here, down deep into it. Right now, our pattern on the top surface would be boring, but with this cut, we expose our end grain in the faces of these cuts, and as we stretch this out into one long piece of steel, this exposed end grain makes its way to the surface. If you want to see the people that know what they're doing run a milling machine, don't come here. That's why you go to NYC CNC's channel. They're the people we're doing this collaboration with. And they do some seriously cool stuff, and that's a great way to get a little bit of an inkling into just what can be done with a CNC mill. We're gonna go about it a little bit more old school, a lot lower tech, and instead of a smart computer, it's a silly-haired Englishman that's operating it, so there's plenty that could go wrong. We're gonna clamp it up and start cutting. We're out of the milling machine. It is time to forge this down. We're gonna take a high heat, stretch this all down. We'll be able to get ourselves a blade forged. I'm actually not going to forge the blade out completely just yet. I have it cooling down nice and slow in the forge because I want to grind out something that looks like a crack. We've got a couple areas that are looking like this, and I think it's at the bottom of our 90-degree cut. Obviously from forging it down, there's a lot of stress on that as it opens, and I have a suspicion that it might have formed a little light crack. I'm going to try and grind it out, see if we can get down to clean material with no cracks before we proceed with the blade. While that piece of steel does cool down and we get ready to work on it, I'd like to take a little interlude to see what Will has been working on. He's been trying to sort out some of our stock next door. So let's have a look at some of that.
So as you guys know, we're selling abrasive belts. And the thing about belts is that we're gonna have quite a few different variations of them, which means that we need to have a good way to organize them. Now, I thought of what I think is a pretty dang good idea. We've got a lot of empty wall space in the other shop, and you guys know what our current belt system looks like for organizing belts. So as you guys can see, we've got these shelf brackets with PVC on top, and we want to do the same system in the other shop, but we don't have everything we need to do this. We've got to run to the Pula Ace with the Helpful Hardware folks. We're not sponsored by them yet, so we legally can't say their name, unfortunately. I know, it's too bad. Shall we set up a ye old time lapse of putting these together? Okay, so we haven't organized these yet, but I want to make sure that this system's gonna work. I made this lovely hook. You go ahead and pull these belts off. No. Ah, hey! That worked pretty good. All right, we've got those belts. What I'm gonna go ahead and try is I'm gonna cut some of this 2-inch wide, 3/8 inch thick 1095 into 2-inch squares. I'm gonna cut 3 squares. I'm gonna oil harden them. We're gonna grind and see how much material the belt from each company uses. We're gonna see which one we like the most. Okay, it's the next morning now. These have cooled off a bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and weigh them before and after we do our grinding. These are all gonna be a little bit different because the bandsaw cuts probably weren't perfect. The amount of steel welded onto the back isn't the exact same. 8.90, 8.69. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, head into the grinding room, and we're gonna get these completely contacting the belt surface. I'm gonna hold this with a pair of gloves. I'm gonna push in as hard as I can without bogging down the belt grinder. And we're gonna cut for 30 seconds. We're gonna see how far we can get into this 3/8 inch 2x2 chunk of 1095. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and weigh them now. 831, 811, 810.
It's awesome to see the organization that's happening next door as well as what it is that we are learning about the belts. Speaking of grinding stuff though, we're gonna grind on this. Right, the piece is cooling down nice and slow. It is time for me to get a new piece of equipment set up. A new to me tool, all the way from Australia for the belt grinder from 84 Engineering, who makes our belt grinders. It is a surface grinding attachment. You remember, back in the UK, I had a surface grinder. It had a wheel on it, stone on it, and a beautiful piece of equipment. It had coolant on it. It was lovely, and I loved having it. It would do a beautiful surface finish. It wasn't ever very good at stock removal, though. And so what people will do here is they'll frequently buy surface grinders, big expensive surface grinding machine. They will convert it to run belts so that they can get a greater amount of stock removal while still getting a phenomenal amount of accuracy. Well, what this attachment is meant to do is give you some of the luxury of a surface grinder, some of the surface finishing capabilities and accuracy capabilities of a surface grinder without needing to spend as much money as a surface grinder costs. Without needing to have another gigantic piece of machinery, you can have a surface grinder, and I am extraordinarily excited to try this out. As part of our shipment, I ordered some of these surface grinding attachments, and Ewan even threw in an extra one as a gift, which was lovely. Thank you, Ewan. He runs 84 Engineering, who makes these machines. Let's get this thing assembled. There we go. All right, let's go get this thing mounted on a grinder. It's as easy as this. We're gonna take this tooling arm, put this bolt through, and look at that. We're just gonna screw it on. And it should be as simple as that. That is a surface grinding attachment, and in perfect timing, because we're going to take the piece that we let slowly cool down out of the forge, we're going to surface grind it on this.
This is working amazingly! This is off the 60 grit, took no time at all, beautiful surface finish. I'm gonna try a higher grit. Look at that, that's pretty nice.
Okay, so the surface grinder worked an absolute treat. I got it up to an A100 Trizact finish, and then I came through, etched it, blue dichromed this one side, so that we could scribe a line on. Now, why did I etch it? Well, one, Damascus is awesome, and two, it meant that we could scribe a line that was going to line up quite neatly with the pattern that we have. We've got that done. It's now back to the milling machine. So here we are. We've got ourselves a couple of fullers. We've got ourselves a paper template. Dagger-like shapes are pretty tricky to get symmetrical, and so a little few seconds there in Adobe Illustrator. Got this done, stuck on. We're going to give it some rough profiling at the belt grinder. I want to heat treat it while it's nice and thick. Today's sponsor is Paragon and their Paragon heat treating ovens, and so it's a great opportunity for us to talk about these heat treating ovens. So what is unique about the ovens that Paragon are making, especially in this series, the KM24 Pro, KM9 Pro, is instead of there being one thermocouple, the device that measures the temperature, there are 3. And this 24-inch oven is divided into 3 sections, each section having its own feedback loop to determine whether its temperature is appropriate and whether it needs to increase the amount of current that's flowing through to raise the temperature or decrease it. If we were to be checking on a part and we opened the front of the oven, the front section is going to cool down more than the back section, which means that as you close it, you want the front side of the oven to know it needs to have more current going through it. You don't want the back of the oven to go overshooting to compensate for the general loss of temperature. The ovens we have the Sentinel Smart Touch on it. It even means that you can edit things on the fly. The touchscreen is very responsive. And it is a product that we highly recommend. Paragon is changing the game as far as heat treating ovens go. So you can rest assured when you're purchasing from Paragon, you're not only purchasing a phenomenal product, but you're purchasing a product from a company that, though being 70 years old, is still innovating and changing the game of precision heat treating. Thank you, Paragon, for sponsoring this video. Guys, check out the link in the description to learn more about them. See you on the next one. Oh, actually no, we should quench this thing, and then we'll see you on the next one. We're gonna do a little normalization. There goes the alarm. Gloves would have been a good idea. Oh yeah. That's a hardened knife. Time to temper it. And with that, we're going to call it the end of an episode. Be sure to check out Paragon Heat Treating Ovens. Be sure to go subscribe to NYC CNC so you can watch that Johnny 5 build. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.